Hello, my students of statistics. We are going to look at distributions, the shape of the data, and this is found first in Chapter 1 of your text. So this is an overall look of Chapter 1, and we want to remember the three factors that we're looking at: the center of the distribution, the shape, and the spread. So that's going to be our theme this whole video. Okay, so here is a distribution for us. We're going to bring in our laser beam so we can take a look at what's going on. What's distinctive about this distribution? When I look at this, my eye first goes to these two modes. See a mode here? And then there seems to be another mode over here. So this is what we would call bimodal, and it would imply to us that there are two populations that maybe we should separate and take a look at individually. So that's the first thing that catches my eye. So that has to do with the shape of the distribution, bimodal. This data set, we can immediately see that the bulk of the data is in the middle of the graph, but we pay attention and we see that the two data points down here are extremely different from the rest of the group. So the most distinctive thing about this data set, I think, would be the two outliers out here on the left. Other than that, it would be a pretty consistent data set. Okay, so the real power of looking at these dot plots and these visuals is to compare different populations. So here are three different classes that took exams. We want to see how these distributions are similar and how they are different. So the question is, what is the main characteristic that distinguishes these graphs? So it's asking what's different about these graphs. So let's first look at what's similar about these graphs when we think about center, spread, or shape. The shapes look fairly similar. We've got kind of a bell-shaped curve going on, but a little maybe concern about another mode over here. But that's happening in this shape as well in exam scores for Class B, and it's also happening over here. Notice all three of these classes have an outlier, one student who performed significantly better than the rest of the class. And then the only thing that's different, it looks kind of like we've picked these exam scores up and we've moved them to the right. The center here is at 56, the center for this class is at 59, and the center for this class is around 61. So where these graphs are different, what distinguishes them is that the centers are different. This set of data is demonstrating for us the change in spread. Notice for the previous set of classes, they all ranged about the same, but in this case, we've got this class had scores from 60 to roughly 80, so the range was 20 points. In this class, Class E, the low score was 60, the high score was 85-ish, so the range was 25. And then in this class, Class F, we had a low of about 48 points to a high of close to 100. So the range is over 50, and that's demonstrating a change in the spread of the distribution. The class scores in exam F are way more spread out than the class scores in exam D. Class scores in E have more variation than Class D. Notice all of these are somewhat symmetric, bell-shaped distributions. This one's so spread out it loses its shape. And notice that all of the centers are at 70. So those are similarities. But where this is different is in the spread. This is an example of the spread changing. In this last set of exam scores, you can, just by immediately looking at this, see that these shapes are different. Over here on the class G, we've got a long tail on the left, so it looks like we've got a left skewed distribution going on there. A lot of the class did pretty well, got 80s on this exam, or close to 80. Over here in class H, we have a bell-shaped distribution going on with our center around 70. Okay, we've got some people who did really well out there. And then over here in class I, we have a right tail, so we have a right skewed distribution. So let's get those ideas out here. This is a left skewed distribution, a left skewed shape. This is a bell-shaped distribution, and we know later in chapter 3 we learn the importance of knowing whether you have skewed data or bell-shaped data. And then we've got right skewed. So again, centers and spread. The spread of these are also, let's take a look at the spread. The range is from like 40 to 80, so the spread of class G is about a little over 40. The spread of class H, look, it goes from 50 to 100, so the spread's about 50, not too more spread out, and then from 60 to 100 the spread's 40. So the spreads are fairly consistent here. The centers are consistent, and the thing that's really screaming to us is the shape of the distribution. So hopefully now you can take a look at data and always be thinking about center, spread, and shape of the distribution. Have fun!